Hello, and welcome to Optimized, a marketing performance podcast brought to you by the Multifamily Media Network. I'm Janet Rosseth, your host, and a 25-year veteran of multifamily marketing. This podcast is going to challenge you to reach 1% better somewhere in your daily life, and optimizing is how we'll do that together. Whether it's bringing your personal best to your work and life, building efficient work processes, uncovering new trends, or making sense of meaningful data, we'll dig in together and find that 1%. Hey friends, welcome to another episode of Optimized, a marketing performance podcast. We're here to just tease out 1% better in your daily life with conversations, tips, tactics. And I am here today with a very seasoned marketer in our industry, Kadi Rice. And I'm thrilled that we are going to bring you a topic that's been brewing in my mind since really when I started this podcast. I've named my entire business around running and the themes around running and the parallels between endurance running and business and setting goals and achieving and accomplishing big things. And Kadi just posted something very similar on LinkedIn that caught my attention, and she and I agreed we just had to have this conversation in a podcast. So welcome, Kadi. Do you want to introduce yourself?
Thank you. Thank you. I'm so excited to be here today. Ever since learning more about your company and Run Club, there's so many parallels, and running drives so much of what I do in the workspace. So if you don't know who I am a seasoned marketing executive. I've got over a decade of experience leveraging data-driven marketing strategies, but really getting into the human element of what are our customers saying? What do they want? Then how do we drive the crossroads of marketing, operations, and revenue to really make an impact with that authentic brand? So I'm excited to be here today and kind of dive into how that weaves into my running career.
I love it. I've been following you for a while and love your thought process, your philosophy, the work you do. So super fun to come out here and have a conversation that mimics what we do in our daily lives in marketing and in the business end, but also how we show up personally to get there, to achieve more. I want to just throw out there before we get into a big conversation about running, I don't want to exclude anyone who's not a runner, because really all of these concepts translate really well to anything that you do that puts yourself outside of your comfort zone and tests your capabilities a little bit. So if you're not a runner or you're not a biker or a climber, maybe you are into e-games or competitive puzzling. My sister has taken that up. Fascinating.
I love it.
This should translate well, this conversation. So Kadi, take me through the post that you made just the other day. It looks like you're starting your running season. You're getting ready to train for a marathon. And I'm just going to imagine for a second that you got into about mile 4 or 5 and hit that zone where your mind just opens up and all the thoughts come together, and you had the complete epiphany of how leadership plays out in running. Take me through the post.
Absolutely, 100%. So I think some of my biggest creative breakthroughs have come mid-run. And even if I'm not in my running season, it's come mid-hike, mid-walk, whatever movement looks like to you. But so I always have a note, I will say before I did the post, I always have a note that I either am texting while I'm running to jot it down or audio doing notes. I love that it's so dynamic to be able to do that now, because I'm like, oh, that's a great idea. That's a great idea. But I really
they're
wanted
gone. The second you get home, poof, they're gone. They disappeared on the trail somewhere.
Exactly. It's kind of like how some people keep a notepad at their bedside because they get great creative ideas in the middle of the night. It's okay, how do we keep track of this? But yeah, exactly. When we're outside and moving our bodies, a lot of that creativity comes to life. But I really kind of got to thinking about an athletic mindset, whatever athletic looks like to you. It does not need to be a marathon. For me, it is. I was a one-time thought it'd be a bucket list, and now here I am chasing marathon number 6. But nice. I really thought, thank you. How does physical movement drive how I show up at work? How does it drive how we handle stressful situations? And scientifically, if you really dive into exercise science, when you work out, when you move your body, you develop stress resilience. So that means how I'm pushing through past mile 7 or in what they call the wall for marathon runners at mile 20, how you handle that is how you continue to have that elasticity and stress resilience build up through training. So in the leasing world, in the marketing world, how are we able to show up when that disgruntled resident shows up at our desk? How are we able to do it when there's a pipe burst? If we move our body, we're able to handle those situations with a lot more grace and a lot more patience.
Right.
And that's kind of really where I dove into that.
Notch in the resiliency belt. That's how I describe it to my kids or my nieces, nephews. It's building that notch in your resiliency belt. And it's almost like the more you do the reps, the more you know you're capable of doing another one. When you talk about the resident call or the pipe burst, it's like if you've gotten through 3 resident calls that are really challenging, you can lean on that to get through the 4th.
Without a doubt. And in a lot of those situations, our customers, our residents, they want to be heard. And when you're running, your body, you need to be in tune with your body, right? You need to listen and do hard days hard, but do easy days easy too. Like that recovery, those rest days, stretching, yoga, any other type of movement, it's just as important. So just like we need to listen to our customers better, there's so many crossovers to how you show up as a better athlete is going to help you show up as a better coworker, leader, employee, whatever it may be. In all of those facets, the more you move, the better you're going to be in that regard.
100%. I totally agree too with the adding other kinds of movement in as well, or small changes for big impact. If you talk to a runner about small changes, or you go out and drive and you see all the people out running, it's nice out now. I'm in Minnesota and people are like, it's 55 today and everybody's out. But yes, you see those runners and they look like they just hit the ground right out the door and just keep on going in the same stride all the time. But they might be making a 0.5% change in the length of their stride, or they might be just holding themselves up a little higher, putting more emphasis in their core. The slightest changes that you'll never see from the naked eye, but can make such a difference in efficiency and trying things differently to have a better outcome. And just like you just said, with whether it's customer care or it's leadership, if you show up exactly the same way every single day, you're not going to be efficient anymore. You have to make those small changes and adjustments to build on what you started with as a foundation.
Exactly. We always say in my training group, nothing changes if nothing changes. Right? Like, so you have to push and grow and change and evolve. Otherwise, if you stay the same, it's going to stay the same.
Absolutely. Let's talk more too about, you had a comment in your LinkedIn post too about just do hard better. When you choose hard, you're equipped to do better.
Yeah, absolutely. So training is hard. Life is hard. Work is hard. We all show up. We get the immense privilege and opportunity. We work in people's homes, right? Like that's such a blessing and such a gift. When we think about doing hard better, it's again about that moving your body. How do you put yourself first? People a lot of times will say self-care isn't selfish, but it really is important. If you put yourself out there, it's going to be hard to lace up the first time for that walk, for that run. But if you intentionally do that, it'll continue to have a domino effect on everything in your life. So for me, what that looks like in running this season is I'm changing up, even though I've done this 6 times, I'm changing up how I'm training. My hard days are hard. My easy days are easy. And when I say hard days hard, like my Mondays are going to be tempo runs and lifting. My Wednesdays are going to be speed drills. So that's sprint training and lifting. So really continuing to focus and push myself dynamically so I can show up as a better runner, because that marathon, like the race is just the finish line. That's right. Like this journey is what is more important, because if you didn't enjoy the madness of it, why would we keep doing it? But it's really hard. It's not easy. If it were easy, more than 0.1% of the world's population would be running marathons.
Right, exactly. And I think what you just said about changing up the days and the way that you train, it's not just going out and running another mile and another mile and another mile. It's training your quads, training your core, training different parts of your body, doing the sprints, and training your cardio capacity and your lung capacity. Yeah. And a lot of that really comes down to, you don't know what race day is going to look like.
No.
You have no idea. I've had twice that I've signed up for race day, and it has been massive thunderstorm one morning, and the whole race got delayed by about 2.5 hours. And I'm sure you're doing the math in your head, Katie. You know race day. And for those who haven't done a race day before, you time everything out. The time that you get up in the morning, the time that you get dressed, what you put in your body to fuel at exactly the right time before the starting line gun goes. And all of it was out the door. I mean, I ate 2.5 hours too early. It was like, now what do I do? Now how do I handle this? Yeah. And then I had a second one where the temperature went from what should have been 60 degrees in Minnesota to almost 90, extreme sun and extreme humidity. And you don't always have an opportunity to train for that. And it's the same thing in business leadership, what we do in property management. You do not always know what you're coming into in a day. So training for the possibilities rather than just the miles is always kind of a good backdrop to being ready for whatever comes at you.
Exactly. That's the whole mantra of nothing new on race day, right? Every single long run. So for me, that's a 19 weeks of long runs before race day. Every Saturday is a dress rehearsal. Exactly like you said.
Yes.
It's probably going to go different than you plan. It's very rare to have perfect race conditions, just like we're never going to have perfect leasing conditions, right? We don't know we can do our best though to analyze what our expiration curve looks like, what our goal for resident retention looks like in that off season, right? When it's slower, although that's really quite evolving right now, you need to prepare for that. It's kind of similar to listening to your body. What are you learning from those dress rehearsals? What fuel works? But again, that rain can show up, but it's also why it's so important to look at what your customer feedback is saying. Listen to what your body's telling when you're trying new foods or new, gosh, I could talk for 45 minutes about socks. I've learned so much about what brand of socks, what size of socks, and it can totally change your run. But, listening to your teams, your customer is your leasing teams, your renters, your maintenance teams, they all have feedback to give you to show up the best on race day, to show up when it's peak leasing season or you have a vast number of move outs. Like you got to always be listening to that feedback in those dress rehearsals, if you will.
Absolutely. It's like joining a run club that everybody's got a little bit different experience to come together on. And just like you just noted, your property team, your regional team, your admin, your HR and marketing and IT and accounting, everybody's got your back. It's like the supportive pit crew that's ready to see you run your race.
Yes.
And relying on the information that they have and the tips that they have and the experience and wisdom that they might share. And like you said, the customer data, what's been said in the reviews, it all tees you up. I think about launching new initiatives in marketing and the amount of times we've all launched new technology or prepped for, a complete changeover in software. And this is the kind of mentality that we come at it with when we've been involved in endurance sports or trained for something outside of work. You got to think about all the angles.
100%.
Lean on the information, not just the miles.
Absolutely. I love that you bring up that pit crew mentality. A lot of people think running is a solo sport unless you're in a relay or some type of event like that. But, just like on site, it really is a team sport. It is who are the spectators cheering you on? Who's the person helping you and cheering you on when you've got a 17-mile run on a Saturday? Who's your coaches motivating, inspiring everybody around you? Leasing is the same thing. Our leasing associates are absolutely instrumental in the success on site, but our maintenance folks are just as instrumental in that success. Our accountants, our HR, all of us are a part of a team to have that collective success. So, I love that you bring up that pit crew mentality because it really, people say it takes a village and it really is a team sport.
It does. I mean, even when you're out for a solo run and on your own, I lean really heavily into me, myself, and I.
Yes. Yes.
It takes all three of us because me alone might be ready to quit, but
myself might be like, don't do it. Just keep going. Change something slight. Put a different song on.
Yes. It's just like when we tell ourselves, like, yes. It's like when we tell ourselves, okay, only 6 miles left. It's so much easier than saying we're doing 16 miles today. Like,
Yes, exactly.
Every mile, live in every mile.
Yep. And when that 6 miles seems like way too daunting and too hard, I pull the bill of my hat down and look at, the 2 feet in front of my road.
Yes.
Literally. Like, I can't tell you how many runs I've done where I have focused on the shadow in front of me, not the rest of the road, not the whole other side of the lake or the miles stretched out on the horizon ahead of me. I'm like laser focused on the couple of feet in front of me. And that, I think, translates well when you're in the thick of a hard project too. And just break it down. Don't look so far down the radar that makes you feel so overwhelmed by your to-do list or by the deadline. Break it down and look just a couple feet in front of you or 2 days ahead and make it bite-sized.
It's so much more manageable that way. Those bite sizes, exactly like you said, that you can break it down and you can do it that way. You got to tell yourself you can do it that way.
Yes, absolutely. Take me through what you've done 6 marathons.
Yeah, this will be marathon number 6.
Oh my gosh. Tell me which ones have been your hardest. What's your hardest marathon? Was it your first?
Ooh, I was actually really fortunate. My first was probably one of my easiest, but I was in my 20s and in peak mobility and fitness. And I had a life that allowed me to do training 100%, no skipped modifications. Life wasn't as chaotic as it is today, but I'd say, luckily, I say luckily now, my favorite marathons have actually been torrential downpour. You don't plan for that at all. No. And it's like, oh my gosh, what are we doing? How do we do this? How many blisters am I going to get?
That was exactly the word that was running through my mind is, the blisters.
Yes. But you feel like a superwoman when you do that. After you get through the first mile or even 10 minutes, it's worse for the spectators than it is for the runners. I'll take a rainy marathon over a sunny, hot marathon any day. But I'm excited. I'm really excited to run in Chicago. It's my hometown course. It'll be my 3rd Chicago this fall. There's nothing like the amount of spectators that when you're running in your home city. Like that is so amazing. And I've seen people that I haven't seen in years on the sidelines of Chicago. Like my old 6th grade history teacher once was cheering on. And I was like, I haven't seen you in decades. And Mr. Shaw, oh my gosh, you're here. So I would say I learned
really hard not to stop and hug everybody.
Right. I'm always like, don't hug everybody, like blow kisses, give air hugs. But there's nothing like running at home.
Right. The signs that people make too on the sidelines are the best.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. People get they're hilarious. Like you paid for this. You paid for this.
Exactly. I'm just here for the hoodie.
Yeah, exactly. The hoodie, the banana, or I love when people do the little Mario, like the mushroom, like slap for a power boost. Like those signs are my favorite.
Those get you through. Yeah. So listen, if you're listening out there and you're not a runner, but you've ever had the just interest in going and watching one of these big marathons, like bring a good sign and you have just won the day.
Yes, 100%.
It doesn't matter if we know you or not. If you're on the sidelines cheering for us and have something good to say to distract us, it's a boost for another half mile.
It's the best. I tell everyone I meet, everybody should experience a marathon. That doesn't mean you have to run it. You don't have to. Cheer for it, spectate, just show up. You will make somebody else's day, and it'll also restore your faith in humanity. Like just the people you see and everyone's collectively doing something together. There's nothing like it. Yeah. But yes,
I have never run a marathon. I think I'd knocked it off my bucket list, but as a runner, that I can never count on that to be off my bucket list. But half marathons are my max. I've done a few of them, and I get to that half marathon mark, and every single time I think I can't even imagine doing another one of these. I was training for a marathon the year that I got pregnant with my oldest daughter, and she's 22 now. And that was all the stars were aligned. I was running 18 miles when I found out I was pregnant with her, and I was like, wah, wah, but what a blessing. what a blessing. And, life pivoted and half marathons became my longest run. And I'm hella proud to have accomplished a few of those. And I don't think it comes down to like how many miles have you run. It comes down to how have you disciplined yourself to be able to run a few more? And how have you carved a little bit more out to be able to withstand a little more? And I want to take us to that conversation of discipline for a minute, because I think that plays out so much also in leadership and how we show up for each other. The discipline, when I'm really chasing an endurance goal or a, fitness routine, whatever it may be, if I'm not disciplined with what I eat, how I sleep, how much water I drink, those basics, none of the rest is going to fall into place.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's so important. And that's also how you show up in the office every day, right? Have you had breakfast?
And for each other's. If you haven't taken care of yourself, how are you going to show up to take care of everybody else?
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's the reminder for whoever, whenever you're listening, go get a big glass of water, because we all need more hydration, right?
Yeah, exactly. And when you show up and, you read the room and you recognize that someone on your team is really struggling, or it's going to be a hard day, or there's a lot coming at us, or people are just fatigued. We've done, a lot of rollouts or whatever it may be. I think leaning into that discipline and the endurance and knowing you can still get outside your comfort level makes us different kinds of leaders.
It really does. And it inspires everyone around you that they too can get outside of their comfort zone. They too can show up, and it really speaks into the whole imposter syndrome conversation that a lot of people have. Like I pace a lot of people who've never ran a marathon, who've never even ran a mile before. And it's like, if you tell yourself that, you're not going to be able to do whatever you set yourself out for, but you also wouldn't have the opportunity. You wouldn't be in that situation if you couldn't handle it, if you couldn't embrace that challenge. And, the bold moves we give ourselves and we take personally or professionally is really what's going to push us to achieve greatness and see what career paths are out there for us, what we're capable of like changing for our residents on site, what we're capable of embodying and leading for everyone around us. We're helping make community by being in multifamily, by being in student housing. We're able to really shape that through what we do. Right. And if we prepare and do the hard work in the running or the movement or whatever that looks like for you, you continue to be better in that space as well.
I agree. And I think I just think back to the people that I have surrounded myself with over the lifetime and the career, and take running outside of it, take, whatever the rep is in multifamily or in this role, whether it's, leasing and you come in the same way every single day and, you attack the CRM system the same way. It's doing the reps. It's doing the reps. It's creating that discipline. And I think we all can be guilty from time to time of getting complacent in the discipline. Like, here's the discipline. This is what I do every single day. If I keep showing up and doing it, the result should be good, right? But the complacency that can happen there can really restrict you from reaching optimal performance. So coming in each day and thinking, okay, so I've got these things that I do every day, but what am I going to do that's 1% different? What am I going to do that's just a little different? And I just think back to like the signs we were just talking about on the sidelines and how people come up with the craziest stuff to put on a sign that gets you one more mile. If we came up every single day with the cheer sign that just made the day or, made somebody laugh a little bit more, would that create that optimal performance? How do we get people to show up that way?
Exactly. I love that so much. It really resonates in both running and careers and the people around you, and knowing, I'm a member of the Chief Women's Network, and we talk a lot about like who's at your kitchen counter. Who are you calling on when you need to give that extra 1%? And that's going to look like a different group of people based on what situation you're facing. But like, who is a mentor to you? Who is a
Right.
sponsor saying your names in rooms of opportunity? Who's going to cheer you on? And how are you going to also cheer yourself on to keep showing up, to keep pushing ourselves, to have that elasticity? That's why I'm changing my training this season. If I keep doing it the same, I'm never going to qualify for Boston. So I've got to start doing it differently.
Right. Absolutely. I love what you just said about who's in your kitchen and who's in your corner. Who are you going to call on when you're down and you need a little lift? Who are you going to reach out to? And, you know, sometimes I don't think we realize how big our village really is in this industry. You know, whether you're on LinkedIn or social channels, or you've got, you know, a Slack channel within work, or you've got a team on your property. I just think that there are so many people in your village in this industry, and all you have to do is just put out there, struggling today. Can I get a cheering squad? And hundreds of people would show up.
Absolutely. It's almost when you are more authentic, that's when that village shines bright. And it really does, like, kind of like experience a marathon restores your faith in humanity. It also knows, like, oh my gosh, I have so many amazing people I get to work with every day. That's what I tell myself every time I'm dreading lacing up. And I'm like, wait a minute. And especially, like, I give meaning to my miles. I always run for charity. That's why I started my running journey. Like, time out. I get to do this. I get to run. Right. Not everybody gets the opportunity to move their body that way. Not everybody gets to be a part of making community for the residents in the surrounding area. And I think really, you know, when to push through, when to have that endurance. Running has also taught such an incredible gift of when to push forward, but then also when to pivot. When do we listen to our teams? When do we listen to our bodies? Like, okay, this isn't learning, or this isn't working. I learned from that. What did I learn from that? How do I pivot now so I can do better next run, or so I can modify for our teams to be successful, for our residents to have a better experience that will ultimately result in retention and building that. Like when we talked about reviews earlier, right? A lot of the reviews, people are only going to leave reviews sometimes if they had a bad experience. However, a lot of positive reviews happen with how we handled a bad experience. So how you are pivoting in that running journey, or how you're pivoting when we're experiencing a challenge on site, it's really going to optimize your performance in and out of the office.
Completely agree. I think you just touched on something that I want to go back to for a second, that you would think that runners lean heavily on the push through mentality, right? Or that anybody in any endurance sport or endurance activity leans really heavily on, I can push through, I can do hard things, watch me go, I'm not stopping here, I'm going to keep going. But I think equally as important, if not even more important, is recognizing when to rest.
Absolutely.
Recognizing when to take a breath, when to ease up, when to allow your body to heal, or allow, even when you think about situations on site, situations at work, instead of pushing and digging right into it, take a breath. Take a look at take a look above the situation for a minute. Just give it a second. Go, you know, fill your glass of water, take a walk around the building, come back at it and look at it differently, because sometimes that is where the real magic is.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I think of the number of people I know that have finished marathons and didn't finish in the time that they wanted to because they took a rest. And it's like, sure, it's disappointing. You didn't finish exactly where you wanted to, but that rest is the reason you finished.
Exactly.
Right?
It's exactly why you finished, and what will allow you to lace up and do it again. Right?
Yes.
Every training season, every race I've had, no two have looked the same.
Nope.
No, not every race is a PR, but every single one has taught me something different. And I think the same can be said on site. Like, every leasing season is going to teach us something different. Yes. Like, what can we be elastic?
Prospect is different.
Exactly. Yeah. Like we learn something different, and how we take those key learnings and how we apply them and what we do is going to make all of the difference, instead of just focusing on, okay, better. Like, then it's eventually going to catch up to you, and you're going to hit that wall and not be able to break through the wall. Right.
Yep, I agree. How do you self-coach when things aren't going well?
I think it's really important to come back to my why. That is what always, like, those philanthropic efforts. So for me, I'm running this year for the Danny Did Foundation and for epilepsy awareness and SUDEP awareness. And I really, for me, I dig into, why am I running this marathon? It's not just to keep running all these miles. It's, while I want to chase the 7 world majors, it's really digging down and giving meaning to those charity causes that I'm running for. And then I think in particular, I think of the little kiddos that we've been able to help and the kiddos that are continuing to need help. And I think specifically about Danny Stanton, which is why our foundation was founded, in memory of him. So I really think of my why, and that helps me push through or know when to listen and rest because of Danny.
Yeah, that's amazing. I love it. Kudos for choosing a really good charity and something that you can really connect to and the reason you run.
That's great. Thank you. I love to always learn, especially as a marathon pacer and coach. Like, we all have different reasons why we're running. It's so fascinating to always learn, like, why is someone lacing up today? Or I practice yoga as well. It's like, what is showing up? Why are you showing up on the mat? What is your intention? And come back to that intention with whatever way you're moving your body. That's going to really kind of help us push through and understand why we're here.
It's very introspective. And I wonder if enough people give themselves enough time in the day to be introspective and listen a little bit inward and think about their why daily, not just like once a year on New Year's Day.
Exactly. Your New Year's Day can be any day of the year.
Right. Yes. The number of people that say, I'm going to run a marathon this year on New Year's Day, and then it comes and goes. It's like, it's the little miles along the way, I'll be starting out run season soon here. And in Minnesota, I mean, there's 6 months off. I have given up on running treadmills in the summer. In the winter, I just do other fitness things instead to stay in shape. But I'm starting from scratch, and it'll be back to, I have this lap of 1 mile that I do 3 times around to do it my first 5K, and I walk it, and then I walk it faster, and then I walk it so fast I'm running, and then I'm in.
And now you've done it. You've done your own little couch to 5K.
Exactly. I have used that app so many times.
Right. It's so helpful. But I loved earlier how you mentioned kind of like also knowing when to like look down, feet on the ground, step for step, breaking that down. It's the same thing when you're running. When I think of like when the pain cave, we use that term a lot in running. When that starts to hit, breaking it down, like, okay, think about each of the muscles in your body. Yeah. Activate your ankles, activate your quads, activate your glutes, and really kind of, some people do that also when they're trying to sleep at night. So that way they can relax their whole body. It's the same thing, how you show up in your body presently on how you continue to push through is like, okay, let's break it down. What is your why? How is your body getting you there? And then let's go crush that next mile or the next half mile.
Find the space where the pain isn't.
Yes.
Yes, exactly. Yes. And I think that translates well too when you think about the day-to-day and on-site or in a busy department or, central offices when there's big initiatives going on and the work feels like you're buried under it, find the place where the pain isn't. Yes. If you're buried within a project and you feel like you can't get out, shift your focus and look for some little change in a different thing that you can work on for a few minutes because
it's so important.
It changes everything. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So I love ending conversations with my guests. I feel like this one is going to be obvious, but I know just from chatting with you that you're going to come up with something completely different that's going to blow me away. So I ask everybody, because we're talking about optimizing, right? What do you do on a daily basis or a weekly basis to show up 1% better?
So it goes without saying movement. Movement is always my non-negotiable every day to show up 1% better. I anchor my day with movement and water. It's a non-negotiable to have a glass of water before I have coffee. Otherwise, it's just chaos for my whole mental health. But I really reflect. I try to think about what I'm grateful for every day. And that place of gratitude allows me to show up a little bit better, allows me to realize and really be introspective. Like we were talking before, what is my why? What am I grateful for today? How am I choosing to show up today? And now I get to move my body. And I get to move my body. And I do that not even just to run a marathon. I think about movement as like, okay, when I have kiddos, I want to be chasing around just as fast as they are. When I'm a grandparent, I want to be able to bend down and play on the floor and do everything. So I move my body. So years and years or years from now, that finish line that's forever away, I can still show up and lace up and be present for it.
I love that. The work you're doing right now is buying you years later. Yeah. Yeah, that's fantastic. Thank you so much, Katie, for joining me for this conversation. I have been waiting for somebody to just talk running themes and the parallels of leadership and business with, and such a great conversation. And you are so talented. And I wish you all the best in your upcoming marathon. I can't wait to see how it goes.
Thank you. Thank you. And I will say, for anyone that's ever interested, come geek out with me. If you've ran before, don't want to run, but want to learn what I'm doing for yoga or want to join me. I love running and walking at every conference. So I love buddies. I love making a new friend. We can be accountability buddies. So
I will see you at AIM for some of those wellness activities. I love that they're just adding more and more to it, because there's so much intense learning. It's nice to take a break and do a walk on the beach or a little yoga or a little wellness opportunity.
It's going to be the best way to start the day. And then you have a friend to sit with when you go to a session.
Absolutely. Yes.
So it's going to be fantastic.
Thank you so much. I'll see you in AIM in a couple weeks.
See you in a couple weeks. I'm excited.
All right.
Thank you for taking the time today for this session. I hope you found a bit of inspiration and wisdom to optimize your performance. If you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with your network. And remember, this podcast is proudly brought to you by the Multifamily Media Network, your trusted source for stories, trends, and insights in multifamily living. If you're a marketing influencer, be sure to check out Cadence Marketing Solutions at cadencems.com. We've made it our mission to support marketers and lead you to the voices, resources, and tools that impact your success in this fast-paced industry.